topic for today's lecture would be a strategic budget and audit, and this is the last topic of your unit 1, that is strategic management. So far we have been discussing that a company try to harness their resources. They try to budget and allocate their resources in their respective areas, in the respective functional department. Like yesterday we studied about the scanning functional resources, where the resources were limited to the finance, HR, R&D, and the different aspects, and how they contribute towards the organization's success and competitiveness. So in this lecture, we'll be studying about the budgeting aspect, that what is the process of budget, and whether there's a right allocation of the budget in the right head, and how this allocation is monitored, that is the how auditing is done. So strategic budget, that means you are allocating the funds and resources in a respective areas, and you're trying to find out the utilization up to the maximum in the auditing, and trying to find out the gaps or the lacunas where the company may improvise over. So strategic budget, just like we allocate the budget, so allocating the budget also implies a lot of strategic aspect, thereby ensuring that the compliance of all necessities has been done, and all the capabilities and the competencies of the organization is harnessed to the best fit of the organization. So as we can say, it is the plan, that it is an operation plan that try to display the operations in various categories in a particular quantity, amount, and number. Like as the first point says, that manifesting the annual operating plan by displaying categories and quantities. That means the manifestation, that is displaying your what is the operation plan, that is an operation plan for the entire year, by segregating the quantity in the different categories where you want to spend your resources, where you want to spend your money. Second, it says that it is a new concept as a tool of resource allocation among various SBU and units of an organization, small business units and units of organization. That means it is a new concept that has emerged. It is a tool that has emerged that works on the resource allocation among the different units of an organization, and also among the small business unit of an organization. That means there's an equal distribution of the resources in all throughout the organization and among the various units of an organization, whether it is a small venture, whether it is a big venture of that particular organization. That the resource allocation should be as per the need of the unit that the company is operating into. Then third, should be tied to an organization long-term plan. Obviously, the long-range plan, company always have several plans in their in their list. The short-term plan, the long-term plan, the mid-term plan. So the short-terms are devised in order to achieve the long-term plan. So whatever the strategy and what the budget allocation is being done, the consideration should be equally given to the long-range plan of the organization. It should be synchronized with the long-range plan of the organization. So moving forward with this, like the details, the assignment of dollars to each program area, including expenses for employee wages, overhead equipments, etc. Like where that things have been allocated, how much dollars or rupee has been expended and been allocated, including the expenditures over the resources, over the infrastructure, over the equipments, machinery, the land, electricity, and even the employee wages. So this is also need to be taken care of whenever you are allocating the budget, because any kind of misallocation, any kinds of wrong allocation may lead to the wastage of resources, time, and money of the organization. Then, like advantage of budget control or performance monitoring in the implementation phase. So what is the one major importance advantage of the budgetary control is that by monitoring the performance, and obviously how far you have implemented as per the strategy that has been crafted right from the starting. Then process of preparing the strategic budget. So as you can see that there's a different kind of process that is being used. So two kind of things have been taken here: the preparation of the position papers and preparation of the budget. So what do you understand by position over here? So the first is position paper on environment. Environmental scanning, if you remember, was studied in the lecture 1 when we started off, when we lecture 1, where the environmental was scanned, and you know that the environment was microenvironment and the macroenvironment, the internal and external environment. External environment was always beyond the control and internal environment was always in the control. That was related to the more organizational activities and aspects only. So you have to scan the environment and prepare the papers with respect to the environment. Number 2, you should also, that means the strategist should also compile the list of the organization constraints, that is the weakness, that is the limitation of the organization, along with the available resources, along with the competency of the resources, be it human capital, be it machinery, be it money, be it anything else, be it the any extra competency that's giving the competitive edge for the company. So you have to list down everything that. Then third is the position paper on the past performance. It is misprint over here. It is the past performance. Past performance means what was the trend of the organizational performance in the 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line. That means how far the company has performed, what is the ratio and profit analysis of the company, that is how far the company has achieved the targets, what is the market position of a company, what is the growth story of a company in a particular tenure, that is 5 years back or 10 years back. That means you're evaluating the past performance of the company, you're preparing the data on the past performances of your organization. Then obviously you're going to lay down the standard, that the strategy is going to lay down the standards for what the future course of activities for an organization and how you're going to achieve, that is the modus operandi for the upcoming activities that you have lined up, that the strategies have lined up for the organization. So that means preparation of the position papers, matlab you're collecting the data on the environment, the internal environment and the external environment, the strength, the opportunity, the threat and the weakness. Apart from that, you're also looking over the constraints, that is the weakness and the limitations of the organization, and thereby listing down the resources and their competency. Moving forward, you also try to evaluate the company's strategies, also try to evaluate the past performances of the company, and finally the future direction and the modus operandi to achieve those activities. That is what company is planning after 5 years or the 10 years, what are the plans and the objectives and the goals of the organization 5 years or maybe in a long-term range. Right, means we have discussed that all the activities, all the strategy need to be in synchronization with the long-term objectives of the organization. Then at second phase, there is a preparation of the budget. Once you have all the documents, once you have compiled the data on the environment, on the constraints and resources, on the past performances and on the future course of activities, then you have to prepare, the strategists need to ponder on the budget. That is the money, that is the allocation of the funds or the dollar or the rupee in the various heads or the overhead expenses. So the first, preparation through interaction between corporate level and strategic business unit level. So budget, number 1, it should be prepared by considering the common, by achieving the consensus between the corporate level, that is at the top level, and then at the small business unit level. So it should be synchronized. No one should understand, no one should think that they have been neglected or their objectives and goals or their views have not taken into account before allocating the budget or devising a strategy for the budget allocation. So whatever is planned in terms of budget, it should be in harmony with the corporate level plans and obviously with the plans required at the strategic business unit level. Then communication about the likely course of future action in light of past performance. Obviously, just like above, we have evaluated the past performance, the company strategists have evaluated the past performance. Similarly, the future course of action will be determined keeping in mind the past performance of the company. You tend to evaluate the performance, you tend to evaluate over the growth, you tend to evaluate over the expenditure, you tend to evaluate over the performance of the company, you tend to evaluate on the basis of the market value, the product, the customer review, and the upcoming threats and opportunities, the strength, where you have gained the competency, and what kind of a workforce mix you have. You tend to evaluate everything on the basis of the past performance, and then only the strategies are able to devise a strategy for the future course of action. That means keeping the past performance in the trend, in the light, and in due consideration. Then thirdly says that show allocation of various resources according to the need and importance of various functions, products, and businesses. That means you're allocating the resources as per the needs and the cruciality and the significance, what the importance of the various functions, the products, and the processes. That is the business processes. What are the needs, what kind of money they actually require, and what kind of budget do they require to fulfill the objectives, what kind of function that particular unit is dealing into, and how much budget needs to be allocated. Is it worthwhile or is it not worthwhile? Because any extra wrong allocation would lead to the disaster effect and the gaps in their performance. So these are the strategies that need to evaluate every aspect in a very keen, in a very sharp manner, and obviously judiciously. So this is required, is a big task on the strategist managers. What are the advantages of the budgetary control, the strategic budgetary control, and what are the problems in strategic budgetary control? There's pros and cons of every side. So advantages will lead to the first thing, future thinking. It enables the strategist to think ahead. If you're able to control the budget, if you're able to allocate your budget judiciously, if you're able to plan your budget by keeping in mind the corporate level or by keeping in mind the strategic business unit, or trying to achieve the consensus and synchronization between the two, and you are able to plan by keeping in light your past performances and planning the future course of action. So obviously it gives a way for future thinking and future planning. Number two, it sets the detailed plans. Yes, the strategies of all the data, they are founded on all the environmental papers, the position papers with respect to performance, current performance, the trend, their strength, their weakness, and the environmental uncertainties. So they are able to plan it in a very comfortable manner. Third, it defines the area of responsibility. Yes, very true. It also tends to define the area of responsibility, where the utmost significance is to be given, where more money is required, where more resources need to be judiciously used, where the company was lacking in the previous performance, the previous quarters. So it also defines the area of the responsibility. Basis for performance appraisal, obviously. Basis performance appraisal, like evaluating the performance with respect to the expected standards and the original standards, thereby deriving the gap in performance, if at all. If there's a gap in performance, a lot of R&D needs to be done. That means a lot of rethinking, re-evaluation needs to be done, and if the performance is very good, then obviously that sets the landmark for the upcoming competitive position for the company. It will be like a good pave way for the company to move further with the current strategic plan. Then it promotes coordination and communication. Yes, you are planning the budget. You are allocating the budget by synchronizing the corporate level strategy and the small business unit strategy, keeping the long range plan of an organization into consideration, and keeping the individual agenda of the departments in line. So there's a lot of coordination, smooth coordination, and communication is fostered, because this process would not be complete or successful without the proper coordination and communication. Then it economizes management of time. Yes, you are able to manage your time in a better way. So the advantage of budgetary control also leads to the saving and management, optimum time management. Then what are the problems? Over budgeting. Sometimes strategists tend to over budget, or they are overriding enterprise goals, or they tend to hide their inefficiencies, or they cause inflexibility. Now the next is strategic audit. So what all we have covered so far? We have covered what is the strategic budget, the initial part, that is the strategic budget part is done. We move into the strategic budget. We are done with what is the strategic budget, what are the 5 important characteristics of the strategic budget, then the process on the basis of the position papers and the basis of the budget. Then we also started about the advantages and problems in the strategic budgetary control. Then moving forward to the strategic audit. Audit is like how you're evaluating the performance of the chosen strategy. The strategy that the strategists have chosen, what is the success of that, how far that strategy was good enough or it can be repeated, how far the strategy failed in achieving the targeted objectives, how far you have reached with the current strategy by keeping in pace with the current market trends. So it is a method of evaluating the performance of the chosen strategy for the organization. Number 2, examinations and evaluation of strategic management process, including measuring corporate performance against the corporate strategy. Now, set of strategic management processes there that starts with the environmental scanning, strategy formulation, implementation, and then finally the evaluation. So you tend to evaluate. There's a lot of evaluation of the strategic management concept is done by including the corporate performance, how far the corporate is performing in the sector, and how far it is against the corporate strategy. You know that the corporate strategies are always designed at 3 levels: the corporate strategy, the business strategy, and the function strategy, that is at the departmental level. Third, upon completion of the audit, a report will be created regarding the auditing firm or group's findings and submit the report with recommended remedies to the management of the organization. After you have audited the strategic management process and the corporate performance strategy and the corporate strategy, then a report is prepared. The audit report is prepared, is created by listing down the findings or the group findings, and you tend to recommend, the auditors tend to recommend the remedies also for the management of the organization, that what is to be done, and these are the suggested remedies that are advised to be incorporated. What is the checklist for conducting a strategic audit? So first of all, current situation. The current situation of the organization with respect to the environment is judged, audited. What is the current performance of an organization? What are the current available resources for an organization? What is the current position of an organization with respect to the market? So the current situation of the organization is evaluated and audited first at the primary level. Second, what is seen in the checklist? Record of performance. Record of performance of the past performance and for the year for which the audit is being done. How far the company was able to achieve the target, what was the budget, what was the objectives of the organization, how far the organization was able to achieve the deadlines, and so on. What was the performance of the organization in the different quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4, and what are the reasons for the downfall or beyond, if the company has done beyond expectation. So you tend to record the past performances of the company along with the year that the company is being audited for. Third, corporate and top management. Corporate and top management is always taken into account before any audit is concerned. Their consent and their views are also taken far whenever audit is done. Fourth, evaluation of the strategy. Company has moved forward with various strategy because company never performs without a proper approved strategy. So how far the strategy was successful in achieving, in claiming what it craved for, what it aimed for, what it planned for. So you tend to evaluate, the strategists tend to evaluate, the auditors tend to evaluate the strategy. Then external environment. All the external environment factors like demographic, economical, political, technological are studied, are evaluated. External environment is taken into task, and what was the influence of the external environment on the company and on the operations of the company. How far the external environment has contributed for the organization in terms of the threats and in terms of the opportunities. Then internal environment. After listing down the external environment factors, the auditors come down to the internal environment. They tend to scan the internal environment also in terms of weaknesses and strength, in terms of the competency of an organization, in terms of the resources, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of corporate strategies, in terms of the structure, and so on. Then for last is strategy implementation and strategy implementation and evaluation. So strategy implementation means that whatever has been planned, whatever has been formulated, how far it has been implemented, and writing on the paper and taking it to the field is far more different. Formulation is far comparatively easier than the implementation, because when you have planned, when you have formulated, the condition can be at one phase. When the implementation phase is current, the things have changed. For example, the current COVID time, if you consider that the companies must have planned their strategy for the upcoming year, that is 2020. But due to this pandemic, due to this COVID-19, all strategy went for a toss. That means now the external environment is a threat for them. They have a threat of survival, they have a threat of competition, they have a threat of losing their customers, their profits, their balance sheets, and so on. So implementation part is always very tough in comparison to the formulation part. Then the process of strategic audit, it is a 6-step process. The first is the resources audit. What are the resources of an organization? Men, machine, material, money. Yes. So all these resources are audited. Their numbers are seen, their competency is seen, and their utilization is also seen. Number 2, value chain analysis. What is value chain analysis? We have started the concept of value chain analysis, but again, value chain analysis is that you are estimating the value of every step in the chain analysis. That means the step-by-step movement of the processes and what value it is putting into the finalization of any product or finalization of any process. So you tend to do the value chain analysis, tend to audit the every step in the chain, and you tend to find out the value it is contributing to the overall achievement of the goal. Third, core competence analysis. The core competence can be started in various ways, in terms of the manpower, in terms of the skills honed by employees, in terms of the skills of the organization, in terms of the USP of the organization, and in terms of the market position of an organization, and in terms of the strength of an organization. Okay? The audit has been done in terms of the core competence of the organization. Then, fourthly, performance analysis. Performance analysis here means mapping the objectives, mapping the targets with the expected standards, and trying to evaluate the past performance, how far the past performance was able to reach the targets. Were there any gaps? If there are gaps, then what was the reason where a company failed? If the company has done good, then what was the main points where the company has excelled? How far the company has achieved in the implementation part? What is the market position of a company? So how the company has performed in the various quarters or for the year where the audit is being done. Then we have a portfolio analysis for the company. Then we have a SWOT analysis. That means the strength, weakness, and opportunity and threat for the company. We always know that opportunities and threat always comes from the external environment, and strength and weakness always are from the internal part of any organization. What is the importance of strategic audit? Importance of strategic audit here means that why audit is done. First, it provides insight into the efficacy and effectiveness of plan. Anything that has been done needs to be audited in order to find out the efficiency and competency of that particular process. Like whatever the lecture has been given, whatever the lecture has been given, if the students are able to perform well, that means the teacher is efficient enough or the students are efficient enough to grab the lecture, or they are through with the language by considering the various variables also. So how far the lecture was good, how far the company strategy was good and effective and efficient. So it always, the audit always gives strategists or auditors to ponder on the efficiency and effectiveness of the strategy, what has been taken by the company in that financial year. Number 2, it helps in attaining objectives. When you are aware, when the company is aware that where they are lacking or how far they have reached, when they are able to know and the remedies were given by the auditors, they are able to attain their objectives, or somehow they have failed in attaining their objectives. Then help to spot the weaknesses. Yes, the company tends to spot their weaknesses that went unnoticed during the implementation or the evaluation or maybe the formulation plan. So companies was not able to evaluate their weaknesses, or tend to forget, or tend to override their weaknesses, or tend to identify that this particular gap, which is a weakness, has been missed out. So you are able, that is the company is able to spot their weaknesses, where they are lacking, their gaps in the audit process, in the strategic audit that is being done at the behest of the auditor or as a necessary part of an organization. Also, it influences the behavior. It can be either ways. Either the team may get motivated, or my team may get more energized to achieve, or it may get distracted. So there's always a positive implication, more likely. It depends on person to person. So there's always a change in behavior, because you're able to critically analyze and get the view of what has been done last year. Then it helps in achieving stability and continuity. Continuous planning, implementation, evaluation, feedback, and audit gives you the continuous feedback on what is expected, what has been achieved, and that always gives the scope for the improvisation. So it helps in achieving the stability and competency and continuity for the organization. It is a chain that keeps on going. Then we have effective use of scarce and valuable resources. You are able to scan the resources here in the first step, resource audit, where you are able to analyze in the audit process. The organization manager are able to analyze that these are their scarce resources and these are their valuable resources. So they are able to differentiate between the scarce and valuable resources. That scarce resources need to be harnessed very judiciously, in the right manner, in the proper strategic manner, and valuable resources that are costly or that are rarely available or that are a very important part of the production process or any services that the company is offering, so that resources are used and utilized optimally by the people, by the managers, whether it's operation manager or whether by the strategy. Obviously, strategic audit helps or enable the managers to use these scarce and valuable resources judiciously. And lastly, it helps in addressing the governance problems. When we talk about the governance problem, it means the corporate governance problems that is related to the administration, that is related to the planning, that is related to the coordination, that is related to the controlling, that is related to the communication, that is related to managing the daily operation behavior of the organization, whether it's related to the structure, whether it's related to the policies, the plans, the HR, the delegation of the authority, the centralization, the decentralization, the span of control, the time management, and so on. That means how efficiently the company is governing the various functions of the management, how far the company is coordinating, how the company is maintaining inter and intrapersonal relationship, what is the position and the stake of a company in the market, how far the company is able to equip itself with the technology, the latest technology, by adopting the new technology and bringing and fostering the change within an organization smoothly, and many more. So governance is like administration governing the organization. So your strategy project will start. So in this lecture, we studied about the strategic audit. Why is strategic audit done? What is the significance? What is the process? What is the checklist of the, and how far strategic audit is important and beneficial for the company. So we have studied about the method. We have studied about the how far you implement the strategic management process and you keep in line at par with corporate performance and the corporate strategy. You use the audit report. You prepare the report. You suggest, that means auditors suggest the remedies to the organization. So the suggested remedies and keeping the whole disclosure at the hands of the organization to implement it with current available resources. Then checklist, evaluating the current situation, keeping the track of the past performance. The corporate and the top management should be considered at a task by evaluating the strategy that has been formulated, whether it is a corporate level strategy, departmental level strategy, business unit strategy, or the function strategy, whatever point, whatever position it has gained in the hierarchy of the strategy. Then external environment, what the factors that are influencing the organization, external environment. Then also scanning the internal environment, preparing for the structure and the features of the internal environment also. And finally, then strategy implementation and the evaluation. Then the process of strategic audit is a 6-step process, starting with the resource audit, that is what are the resources available, the value chain analysis, the every in the chain, what value it is putting up into the process, and core competence analysis, performance analysis, portfolio analysis, and finally the SWOT analysis. And finally, the importance of the strategic audit means by getting an insight into the efficiency and effectiveness of the strategic plan that has been formulated, implemented, and finally evaluated after giving the due feedback, helps in attaining the desired objectives. In order to attain the long-term plans, helps to spot the weaknesses. It also influences the behavior. It helps in achieving the stability and continuity, to how to utilize effectively and judiciously the scarce resources plus the valuable resources, and finally helping the addressing the administration problem, that is the governance problem. With this, we come to an end of lecture 7, and we'll be moving forward with the next lecture in coming up videos. Thank you so much. Keep revising and keep studying.